Hey guys and girls, this is DC here. I kind of wanted to do this video on this game I got in the Humble Bundle called Miscreated. It's a very similar game to DayZ. It is in early access, so just kind of keep that in mind as I'm going over a lot of the different things I'm going to touch on in this video. Overall, it's actually a very good game, and I've had a lot of fun playing it. I'm about 2.5 hours in. The menu will start there is pretty basic. You can set up your own server through Steam like everything else. And it's very, very basic when it comes to menu settings as of right now. There's no player customization for the most part. You set your name and that's about it. From what I can tell, there's no like name above anybody else's head that I've seen. So we'll just kind of hop right on into it and we'll join a server. And it does take this long for the server browser to populate. This game also did not work whatsoever through my VPN. So I'm just telling you that right now. Don't know why. It's probably something they're going to fix later. Also, as a there's no like refresh button or whatever, but it is sortable. So we'll hop into a game and I'll be right back. Okay, so this is some footage that I recorded earlier. The overall impressions that I get immediately, I'm going to kind of start with the good stuff and then we'll go into some of the bad stuff. The game looks beautiful, as long as it's within about 50 feet of your player. It also has an extremely high FPS compared to almost every other game in this category. On my computer, in most of these sections, I'm running at about 65 minimum FPS up to about 90, and this is on high quality. I have a Radeon 390, and I have a decently fast i5, so if you have those things, you should be able to play this game no problem. And even in more populated areas with a lot more buildings, it doesn't really drop very much. So I was pretty happy to see that. And I do eventually get over to an airfield, and the frame rate actually improves when you go inside. I was not used to that after playing DayZ for so much. The game is a little bit choppy when it comes to frame hitches. It doesn't happen very often, but when it does, it's pretty noticeable. And most of the frame hitches you're actually seeing are from my OBS recording. The game itself didn't lag very much, but it's very CPU intensive, I've found. So take that what you will. The other really good things that you've probably been noticing is that the enemy AI is much better than DayZ. You don't run through a building and they just lose you. So they will follow you through buildings. It's very visual based, I found. I was able to get pretty close to them when you get behind them. This is the only noticeable thing I found that's wrong with them, is they'll get stuck on random objects sometimes and kind of do that running into the thing over and over and over again. There are a few different kinds of enemies in this game. I've only encountered 2. I don't know if there's more than that. There's like a normal guy, which are right below me in the video, and then there's like a big muscular guy that I found at the airfields and the other bigger cities. I luckily haven't had to fight them yet, but these little guys, you can beat them up, which, just like in DayZ, it's not a very good idea with your hands. You really want to get a weapon where it'll only take 3 or 4 hits. With your fists, it takes a lot. It's usually a pretty close fight if you take them one-on-one with your hands. The ladders are also much more forgiving. You can drop a bit further than you would in DayZ without killing yourself. And there's not as much bleeding. The animations for the ladders are still a little funky. I don't know if the hitboxes are affected. I haven't actually gotten to shoot or hit anybody on a ladder yet. I'll probably make an update video once the game gets updated a bit more and I get more experience in it. But, yeah, so this is one of the decent-sized cities, you could call it. There's a lot of trailers and trailer parks and that kind of thing, like repeatable buildings I found. This is when I was testing to see if how easily I could lose these enemy AIs. So, the answer was it's pretty tough to lose them. They will follow you for a very long while. This next part is when I get a little bit of distance. I'm going to try and go upstairs here and see if I can hide from them. Yeah, so most servers will start you with a flashlight. It actually works very well. The lighting is pretty true to life. Shadows, for the most part, are pretty true to life. I have not seen another player use a flashlight yet, so I don't know if everyone can see your flashlight or if it's just you. I know that was an issue in a lot of games for a while, where you could see a cone, but not the actual light. So I'm still kind of waiting to see. Food and water is very DayZ-ish, and as you can see, they will follow you in buildings and will search the immediate area. The collision is surprisingly good. Same with the hit detection. So, oh yeah, I do manage to evade these guys somehow. I think I just started jumping. Yeah, there we go. So start the running time. But yeah, they're very intelligent. I haven't seen them go through walls or floors or anything like that, like the DayZ zombies like to be. You do slowly heal if you have enough food and water. You can see in the bottom right-hand side, there's a lot of different numbers down there. You have your health, thirst, hunger. You have a temperature, which I haven't really seen do much yet. So, again, they are fast. They're faster than you, so you have to kind of duck, dip, dive, and dodge. And the respawn is about 15 seconds. I haven't been able to go to my dead body yet and see if there was anything that I could pick up. But as of right now, there's not really equipment degradation. I've killed people and was able to pick up most of their stuff. All the starting gear you can't really loot though, which I was a little bit surprised about. So we'll see if they update that later. So I respawn. It kind of puts you in a random location at this point. There's not really a area where it's going to put you. So we'll again see. It's not like you start on the coast, I guess is my main point. There is loot for the most part. I found in every single kind of building. So there's none of like those crappy houses that are there and look like they should have loot, but they don't. There is respawning loot. This I do know for sure. I have seen it respawn in front of me. So there is that, which is a very nice thing after playing DayZ servers that reset every hour. Some servers I found will carry over your gear and position, others not. For the most part, not. And I'm sure that that's something that they'll implement more widely once the game is getting closer to being done. I've only met 1 or 2 people that have been fully geared up, and for the most part, they were really nice. The gear system itself is a little funky right now, because you cannot take off or drop a piece of clothing that you have items in. I don't think that the game engine supports that yet, where you can drop like a backpack and it has a bunch of stuff in it. But I have found backpacks with stuff inside of them on the ground, randomly generated. So, I mean, it looks like it's a pretty short amount of time away from where it should be. So that's the good part. Let me start hitting on some of the bad things in this game. You move slow. You move really fucking slow. I'm sprinting most of this time because this is normal walking speed right now. If you're crouched, it's so goddamn slow. You are able to sprint while you're crouched, but that puts you to about normal walking speed. I was looking in some of the update notes and that kind of thing, and it does impact how far away zombies can see you in. So that's good. As of right now, there is no prone inside of this game, so you won't like run across, a guy and he's hiding down behind something. You can't get that low. It's like a crouch. It's about all you get. You'll see me doing some crouching while I kind of run around. As with DayZ, it's a large map. It's not DayZ large. I'd probably say it's less than half the size overall right now. So you get a little bit of running simulator, but a little bit of not. I was playing in medium quality before this, getting over 100 FPS for the most part. So I upped everything to high just to see what would happen, and there wasn't a huge impact. I also wanted to see if the draw distance would go up, because in a lot of these areas, as soon as you look at like foliage that's farther away, it just looks like flat grass. So if you look at the hills over there, there's no texture on them. It's just random grass-colored mountain. For the most part, trees are unaffected, though, by draw distance. The trees look the same essentially if you're really close to them or if you're not. So here, this was some recording hitches as it went to high quality. Again, not actually in the game when you're playing it, but I kind of look at a few different things as I run through this kind of random wooded area here. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit, and we'll try and get to somewhere that's a little more populated, and we'll be right back. Alright guys, so as with DayZ, there are street signs every now and again. They are very rare though, from what I found. They're not nearly as numerous, but they are in English, so that's the good part. The other thing too is that there is an airfield, or two airfields, I can't remember, on the map. And pretty much on all of them, there's some kind of joke that has to do with the airfield. So this one says terror. Another one I found is like you're lying to yourself or something like that written over it, or just danger. I've never actually run into another person at the airfield yet, which is kind of surprising. And I am playing in a server with about 30 people. So sometimes you get lucky, sometimes you don't. Of course, when I'm recording, I don't, so whatever. But I do head over to the airfield, and it's a lot more complicated than DayZ for the most part. It's not like one or two buildings that you gotta loot, and that's where all the good loot is. The airfields have like an office building and a bunch of refugee tents and the actual hangars themselves, and then, oh hey, each hangar's got a control room. So it's a lot more complicated, and there's a lot more buildings there, which I kind of like. So it's going to reduce the amount of random campers with snipers for the most part, that are looking at that one doorway that everyone's going to go through. Because there's not really a doorway for the most part that everyone's going to go through. There's multiple entries and exits into almost every building, which is very nice. So we're going to skip ahead again here, and it's just kind of running simulator. It's only about, I think, it was less than a 10-minute run. I want to say maybe 5 minutes. So we'll be back again. Alright, so here's the airfield. Again, it was a very, very short run from the area I spawned in, which I was lucky. There's not a whole lot of zombies in the wilderness, as you saw before, but as soon as you get into an airfield or a really populated town, or even just like the smaller towns, you will start seeing the zombie mutant guys. I don't know what they are exactly. But yeah, you start seeing there's a ton in the airfield, and at this point I had no weapons, so I was not about to go and start fighting things. I'm not quite sure if there's a way to get through fences yet, or if there's a tool that they're going to be implementing. It's not that big of a deal for the most part to go around and look around for that kind of thing, like the openings. But over here is one of those really big, muscular guys that I was talking about before. The second kind of infected, I guess, is what we're going to call him. Zomble. I managed to avoid him pretty nicely. But to my right is where the big office building kind of thing is. And in front of me is a bunch of like the military tents and refugee tents and all that kind of thing. I've had mixed luck with these kind of things. Sometimes there's absolutely nothing in one of these big tents. Sometimes you find a shotgun. It's great. And as with DayZ, you have to find the specific kind of ammo for your gun. And there's luckily no magazine or clip that you have to find also. It usually comes with that. For the most part, pistols will come with like rounds included. It's usually only 3 or 4 rounds for the most part. I've managed to find a full clip once, I think, so far in that 2 hours I've played. But yeah, I've managed to find a lot of buckshot. That's probably the most common ammo I found. As I do a lot of looting here, when you walk into a building like this that's dark, it takes about a second for your guy's eyes to kind of brighten up and let you see. So having the flashlight out, it's actually not a bad option. If there's a guy inside with a gun, you're probably going to die either way. So there's not much you can do. Whoever's on the inside of this stuff is definitely at an advantage when it comes to fighting or holding position. So it's kind of up to you if you want to run in with your flashlight or if you want to run in with your gun out. But there's still about a second of delay, either letting your eyes adjust or going from flashlight to gun. So yeah, the inventory system is pretty simple for the most part. Other than that kind of one annoying bug where you can't have anything in your pockets when you want to drop something, it's a pretty good system. I did have to record this in a window. For some reason, the OBS has not, it did not manage to capture the actual game capture, so I had to do it in a window with the monitor capture going. So unfortunately, that kind of gives me a little bit of offset with my mouse. You should definitely play this game full screen if possible. It'll ensure that the mouse clicks in all the menus are 100% on point. So I think my mouse was about half an inch lower than where it should be. Just a few pixels. Enough to annoy me, but not enough to make me stop playing. So as of right now, there's only really 3 kinds of gear in the game. There's guns and ammo, and other like weapons essentially. Then you have clothing, and then you have car parts. So there are vehicles in this game. Most of the time when you come across a random car or truck, though, it will require some pieces to get going. Usually gas and oil. Sometimes if you're unlucky, there's engine parts messed up. So you're gonna probably find things in those 3 categories. I have seen a few people driving around in cars, and I have been in a car, but we'll get to that part when we get there in the video, because I did manage to get into a car at some point here. But yeah, so pretty much as of right now, I'm looking for food because I'm getting a little bit low on food. I just got a backpack, which is nice. There is crafting in this game, so if you find a bunch of random crap, you will be able to build different things inside of your own inventory. And there is base building in this game. Not quite to the extent of Arma, but, you know, it does let you build structures and things like that. I haven't gotten to do anything with it yet, because I haven't been in the same server long enough to really get completely geared up. But I do get to a pretty good point in this video. You can, like, make sandbags and that kind of thing with just regular cloth. And you can, of course, like rip apart shirts and pants and hats and all that. I do manage to find a sweet gun here. I, of course, have no ammo for it, but it'll look pretty intimidating. And if I need to talk my way out of a situation, I might be able to with it. There are crossbows in the game, but for the most part, pistols I found to be the most common. So, yeah. The pistols I have found, pistols that take 45 ACP, 9mm. I think that's the 2 most popular ones. But, yeah, you can't mix ammo again. I don't manage to find any rifle ammo anywhere, which kind of sucks. But that's okay. I think I do manage to find a pistol at some point. But this kind of style of looting, to me, is a little monotonous. These are very, very similar buildings, and it looks like they just copy-pasted a ton of them in the same area. I mean, which I can appreciate. If they were the exact same thing on the inside with randomized spawns, I would be a little bit pissed off. But they do vary them a little bit, and there is different loot that spawns inside of them, I found. So some of them, guns will be more likely, some of them not. The other kind of thing, if you just saw me pick up, was a water bottle. I haven't managed to be able to figure out how to refill it, but for the most part, all the water bottles I found have been full, and you can drink from them. So I'll have to do some more testing and find out if you can refill it with like water from like a stream or the ocean or whatever. I haven't managed to find any water pumps though, like DayZ had, so kind of keep that in mind too. I think I'm still trying to avoid all the crazy zombies that are around here, and I did notice in the patch notes when you are crouched, you make less noise. There are little emotes, too, that you can do with the F keys, you know, like the wave and the hands up and middle finger, thumbs up, thumbs down. And one of them is whistle, and the zombies will be attracted to a whistle. So I feel like there's a lot of funny things you might be able to do to attract zombies over to where you are with the whistle emote. And I'll have to do some more testing with that, see what kind of range we're talking about. But yeah, so this is one of the office buildings that the airfield has, and I have managed. I do believe I found this same office style building in one of the other cities. So it's a little more common. There is rotten fruit, but I don't know. I haven't managed to take anybody hostage or get duct tape, which is how you I guess, handcuff people. So once that happens, I'll probably include it in the next video about this game that I'm going to do. But this office building gets a little bit confusing. I don't know who designed this building, but they should probably get fired because it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. These little hideaways are actually surprisingly good for loot inside the office buildings. You have to crouch to get inside, and I just picked up a hammer there. Melee weapons are very good in these games, I found. It takes about 3 hits to kill those normal style zombies. And it lets you carry 2 primary weapons and 2 secondary weapons. So, like, in my primary slot, I have my big rifle, which I, of course, have no ammo for. And my secondary slot is my pistol. The hammers and the smaller melee weapons, I found a hatchet also and a crowbar. And, or did I don't know about the crowbar. But the secondary weapons will take up a slot in there. You can't hold them in your inventory. So you pretty much get 4 weapons total. And that's it. So if you want to start gearing up for your friends, don't plan on it very much. There is a full-size fire axe, which I did manage to find in one of the different servers I've played on. And it was pretty funny. I did manage to kill a few people with the hatchet when I had one. Again, it's only about 3 or 4 shots. So the humans and the zombie things have about the same amount of health, I found. So, yeah. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit here, and we'll get to something else that I want to talk about. Alright, so the airfield itself is actually very interesting. There are different little planes around, there's messed up bombers, there's big helicopters, none of which I found you're able to drive, or potentially drive with different parts. There's a lot of loot usually inside of these kind of storage containers that people have been living in. It's kind of tough to see because every time I run in or out, the lighting will change. And cigarettes will fake you out in this game so often. It'll be like, oh, what's that? Oh, nothing. Cigarettes. You can't pick them up. Screw you. But yeah. So there wasn't a lot of loot. I don't think I was the first guy here. So I kind of got weary. And eventually I started checking like all of my corners and that kind of thing. But it was pretty uneventful for the most part at this airfield. I do manage to get some kind of cooler looking clothing, but that's about it. No ammo, no extra guns, no nothing cool like that. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. I'm going to probably cut ahead here so I can show you some of the different emotes you can do and the cool clothing I get. But here's one of the planes. This is my test. I couldn't get in it. Couldn't open up its inventory. I thought it might be Arma 3 style where you can find cool guns and stuff inside of stuff. But I started checking my corners. The ways to get into these hangars and different buildings are really interesting with lots of open areas, and it's like these slats are all decaying and that kind of stuff. So it's pretty cool. I really like the look of this game, and the performance it just runs so well compared to DayZ. And I was huge on DayZ. I love DayZ, other than the running. I'm going to kind of wait and see. The map, I guess they're going to start expanding it once they finish up the different sections of it. I haven't managed to play with any of my friends with this game being so new, and I'm one of the few people who bought the Humble Bundles because hell yeah, Roller Coaster Tycoon. But I've been really happy with this game. So overall, I really am excited with it. I'm probably going to be playing for quite a long time this game, learning the different areas and the spawns and that kind of thing. I did learn that you cannot break windows, which is a little bit saddening. But if you don't mind the whole popping in with the different foliage, that was the only thing that kind of annoyed me. And I keep doing one click on the mouse button to snap to aim, which doesn't exist in this game. You have to hold it, and you can raise and lower your gun. So it's a little bit weird, and you'll kind of get used to keeping your gun up for an extended period of time. This is the coolest hoodie, though, I think I found. I'm ripping up my shirt because fuck that shirt. I'm going to wear this awesome orange and black hoodie. So if you guys like this video, feel free to like and subscribe. Overall, I really do recommend this game, and the Humble Bundle I paid was only $9.99, and it included a ton of games. Got this one included. This and Roller Coaster Tycoon, I definitely would say would be worth it for the bundle alone. But I'm really excited to see what will happen in this game in the near future, and I really want to get some of my friends playing it so we can kind of figure out the party system. There is a clan system implemented on each server, so you can join like the same clan, and I really want to see what that means, if you can see where each other is, you know, with the HUD or whatever. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.